because of it without any justification. Now, if I pull a hippie over with, and this is me stereotyping, hippie over with a Confederate flag, he get out calling me this, that, or you can't, that's different. But if he were to give me his driver's license, I would treat him just as if I would treat anyone else. So it's not the fact that you have perception. Everyone has perception and stereotype. Everybody. You can't get away from that. It's how you behave and how you treat the person. So any incident that we're talking about with the sheriff department, even pre-Creel or since Creel, it's always about the behavior. It's not about what was done or whether perception or stereotype. It's the behavior. If you treat someone in an undignified manner, whether they're white, green, yellow, male, female, Jew, or Gentile, you're wrong. So that's the part about it. I don't want to think that we live in a world where we don't see perceptions and stereotypes. You can't. That's the world we live in.
Yes, sir.
How y'all doing? Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all might have seen me if you was at the town hall meeting we had earlier when all this kicked off. I know Sheriff Creel, you probably seen me when I told you he was between a rock and a hard place. That space got a little tighter, didn't it? Yeah. I want to share something with y'all real quick. This is from Pat Thomas, Law Enforcement, Public Safety Institute. First block of instruction, intro to law enforcement. Second block of instruction, legal. Third block of instruction, human issues. Fourth block of instruction, communications. You got vehicle operations. CMS first aid for criminal justice. Weapons. Criminal justice defensive tactics. Patrol 1, Patrol 2, criminal investigations, crime scene investigation, traffic stops, DUI traffic stops, traffic crash investigation, physical fitness. They make you do PT out there. Dart firing stun gun. Nowhere coming out of Pat Thomas are they being trained to deal with communities. Nowhere. So when y'all say diversity training, you got a lot of training to do. You got a lot of training to do. They're not being trained out there nowhere in that academy to deal with the public. I came from an all-white sheriff's department in Texas. I was the only black deputy they had, and there was 32 of us. I stayed mainly on the south end of the county that I worked, while everybody else stayed on the north end of the county. On a given night, I had my closest backup was 45 minutes away, and he carried a wheel gun. If y'all don't know what a wheel gun is, it's a 6-shooter, 357 or whatever he chose to carry that night. It's not hard to deal with the public. It's not hard. When you say the people don't get out of their trucks, and when they come down the community, they be racing, watching the kids racing down the road and don't stop. The other day out here, I stay right down the road in Shadeville Highway in Eastgate Estates. Little kids tearing up the dirt road on one of those little gators. My neighbor, I got a state trooper stays out there. I don't know if he called or somebody else called, but they called the sheriff's department and told them the kids were tearing up the road. I picked up my phone and was listening to it. You can listen to them on your cell phone. If y'all ain't savvy tech, you go to Scanner Radio and put the app on your phone. You can listen to the sheriff's department. I got them right here, and you can listen to them any time of night. The deputy called back, where's that neighborhood? You had a substation right here before y'all fenced the roof at the jail, right? Right down the freaking road, less than 100 yards. Right down the freaking road, Shadeville Highway, Griffin Road, my neighborhood. Oh, that's my hometown, Colleen, right there, what I'm listening to. But to me, this is more like an undercover town hall meeting, because you guys already know what you're going to train on. You already know what you're going to train on. The stuff they're telling y'all right now, community oriented policing, CIT training. You already know what y'all going to train on. Y'all already know. You already got a agenda set up what you're going to train on. You go all over the world to train, right? You already know what you're going to train on. It's more like an undercover town hall meeting to me. The people are getting tired and tired and tired. Field training officers, I told the sheriff last time, corporal can't train no new person. I don't care how long he been there. If it ain't a freaking sergeant and then he got to ghost ride with a lieutenant, a corporal shouldn't be training nobody. Nobody. I wouldn't let my corporals, when I was in the military, train my soldiers. I trained every last one of them. Every last one. Before I let them go on the road by themselves, I right seat ride with them for a whole 6 weeks before they go anywhere. You can't do it. The corporal cannot do it by himself. You got to have a good sergeant with a backbone, get them off these public roads, keep them out of Walmart parking lot, Burger King, sheriff's office right there. Keep them out of the Burger King parking lots. You can't train them riding up and down the highway. You can't do it. So my suggestion is when you have your training, have some scenario-based traffic stops dealing with African Americans, Hispanics, whites. Have some diversity training. If you're going to do diversity training, have some scenario-based apps in your training. That way they can see what it feels like to see a black person get out of the car just waving it off instead of shooting them first. Instead of shooting at them first. Instead of tasing them. What's going on with this fool? Let them fumble around. Just keep them out of the road. Just let them fumble around so they get tired. You got to have that type of training. Because other than that, we're going to be right back here again. And if sheriff, judge, the sheriff can only do so much. Like he said at the town hall meeting, we got to go to the county commissioners and push for them to give him more money for these psychological evaluations.
I think we have a good sheriff.
We got an outstanding good sheriff. He's a good man.
I think he can do something better.
But he
and
can't.
That's what I said.
But he can't.
I think he's a good sheriff.
Yeah, but he can't do it by himself. We as a community have to go to the county commissioners and get him the money to put this test in his application process.
I don't know about the money issue. I agree on that, but officers getting out of their cars, going around talking to the citizens, you don't need any money to do that. That's not a money issue.
But I'm talking about the psychological evaluations.
Yeah.
What he mentioned in his first time.
You find money for other things, you have to find money for that. I mean, my taxes are high enough.
Mine too. I stay here, right down the road. Trust me, that's a brand new house, and it ain't cheap.
Like I do, find a way to pay those tax bills within their budget. If the budget is too big or the budget is this, that, they need to find a way. But the only thing I'm saying is, if we're going to go in these communities and arrest folk like we should, for every 10 arrests, we should have 100 times of people going in, officers getting out of their car, not arresting and engaging in the community. That's the only thing I'm saying. It doesn't take money to do that. So on the money part, you got to show me that you're worthy of the money before I go and say that I'm going to give some money. I'm not there yet.
Well, he can't.
He's going to get all these teachers a raise and everything else. When they do all that, I'll go. But until
But you're gonna have. But what's gonna happen? You're gonna have the community coming back here again in another 6 or 7 months.
Then we need a new sheriff, and we got to come back. If we got to keep
talking about psychological evaluations. It's not the sheriff. The sheriff said last time, my hands are tied. They cut all my money. I need money for psychological evaluations.
We got to keep revisiting this issue. If we got to keep revisiting this issue that we're talking about with treating folk with dignity and respect, if we have to keep revisiting this, we need to get another sheriff department completely. Because I don't want to keep coming back addressing this issue. One time is enough. We need to be what everybody said. One thing that everybody said that needs to be in training, I agree. Accountability, credibility, and making sure that we treat everybody, black, white, Jew, or Gentile, with dignity and respect. We won't be here.
Well, let me say a couple of things real quick. He's absolutely right. I'm on board with what he's saying. The things everybody's talking here don't take money. They take attitude. They take attitude. And instead of seeing people as citizens as the others and the enemy and us versus them, there has to be I'm one of you attitude coming from every deputy that gets out of their car. That doesn't take money. That takes attitude change for some people. And if the attitude don't change, then they need to be kicked out of the agency. And I think the sheriff's willing to do that. And I'm going to jump in here and tell you, I believe everybody who is hired is given a psychological. Is that correct, Sheriff? That's pretty much standard across the state of Florida. But I will tell you this. You've got your PhD, you know I'm going to say this. Psychologicals are okay. They're not 100% accurate. Okay? So some people can get by the psychological, and I think most of you know that. But everybody is given a psychological test, and unfortunately, some people are real good at keeping those attitudes and those innate feelings under control, and then suddenly, like someone said earlier, they put the uniform on, they get the gun, they feel the power of being able to control people. And I have to tell you this, it's important you understand this, and it's part of the training. Police officers are singly the most powerful people in our society. No one's more powerful. That's a dangerous mixture if you don't have the right person in uniform. So hiring the right people is the first step. But like he said, if we can't have people that get out of their car, the basic dignity to walk up to people and just engage in conversation on a daily basis when nothing's wrong, we're not going to change anything. So you're absolutely right about that. But the bottom line is everybody is psyched, but the psych is, it's not 1 + 1 = 2 every time on a psychological. I mean, there's marginals, there's people who are at risk, and those people aren't hired, and then there's some people who are on the borderline. So it's not a perfect science. Yes, ma'am.
I just have one quick comment that I would suggest that you add to the training, that you suggest to them that they begin to think about moving from reaction to response.
It's funny, let me tell you, I'm going to clarify what she said in my words. People react with emotions. People react with emotions. Once I'm angry with my wife, I don't think real clear and I say stupid things. And everybody in this room knows what I'm talking about. Okay? But when I respond, I use intellect. I use control. My emotions are under control. And that's part of the training. Getting officers to realize that you need to control your emotions so that you can think clearly. Because emotions block your thinking. And that's exactly what you're saying. Treat people to respond and not to react. React is what gets you in trouble. So that's a big part of it. And a lot of it starts just what we're doing right here today. That's verbal skills. Talking to people in a certain way so that they know you're not a threat to them and you're there to help them. Anyone else? I think I saw, did I see any more? Yes, ma'am.
The name of your paper here says Things Unspoken. So my comment is that for 30 prior years, we were under a regime of another sheriff. All the people that worked there, all their thoughts, all their buddies, everybody had a thought pattern that was acceptable. This man, wherever he met, this man has only been in office 2 years. All these things you're running into have built up over time to where it's just overwhelming. And by the way, the friend of mine was a white kid in his late 20s. So I care about everybody equally. But this man has only had 2 years of chance. So would you have been sitting here 5 years ago talking openly like that? So that's what you need to consider. This is a thing unspoken that I would do.
And I think you're right. I think you're right. But I think if those emails would have came out right then, if it was anyone short of Jesus Christ, I would have been saying the same thing.
Yes.
So I mean, Sheriff Harvey, I don't have a bad thing to say about it. Now, whether I agree with everything that he said, I don't agree with everything my dad said. So I can't say I agree. But what I do know is that he was comfortable with black folk.
One thing I want to add to that, what she said, she's basically talking about organizational culture. The culture in this sheriff's department took 30 years to get to where it is today. And a sheriff who's only been on board 2 years, he can't change it in 2 years. And quite frankly, I told him his office the other day, he needs to watch his back. I mean, literally, there are probably people in that agency that would prefer someone else as sheriff than him. So he's got to do that also. So you're absolutely right, and I think that this is proof in the pudding, the fact that people are out today talking and we're starting this process. And I'll tell you the same thing I told the Christian Coalition the other night, and the sheriff's standing here, so if I'm not a reserve anymore, you'll know what happened. But what bottom line is, in 2 years, if it isn't what you want, you have the power to change it. He's here listening because he wants to do something about it. He's here because he wants to change the organization. He's here because he realizes that he may have some problems on his hand. He's hearing these things from you. He's going to implement the training. We're going to try to move forward in a positive way. And we couldn't do it without you. You know, next time we have the next meeting, I not only want you to come, but bring your friends. The more the merrier. So I think that's the key message here, is that we're trying. We're stepping up to the plate. We're trying to make a difference. And unless anyone else has any other comments, God bless everybody, and thank you so much for coming tonight. We'll be seeing you again. Thank you.